Welcome to your 10-man Fireland Raid Guide by Jellybeans Live. Tonight we will be fighting Shannox. Shannox is a two-phase fight. During phase 1, he has two adds with him, Riplim and Rageface. He will need to be tanked away from these two adds. He will occasionally throw out two different traps, Immolation Trap and Crystal Prison Trap. The Immolation Trap will arm after 2 seconds. It's going to inflict 75,000 fire damage immediately and 20,000 fire damage every 3 seconds and increases the target's damage taken by 40% for 9 seconds. This can be set off by a player or by one of the dogs. The Crystal Prison Trap will also arm after 2 seconds. It will also detonate when either a player or a dog runs over the trap. A player will be encased in a crystal prison and must be DPS down to let the player out. This is a massive DPS loss to both the dogs and to Shannox, so watch your feet. If a dog steps on the trap, the same thing will happen, except he'll only be encased for 10 seconds. We'll use this to help us throughout the fight. Shannox will also cast Arcing Slash when he has his spear. This is a cone frontal attack to anyone in front of him up to 10 yards. When he casts this, it will do 125% of normal melee damage and apply a stack of Jagged Tear. Jagged Tear is a debuff that inflicts 2,500 physical damage every 3 seconds for 24 seconds, and this will stack. So at some point, you will have to drop these stacks. More on that later. Occasionally, the boss will throw his spear at a location near Riplim. When the spear lands, it will do 120,000 physical damage to all enemies within 3 yards and 50,000 fire damage to all enemies within 50 yards. So it's very important to run away from the spear. When the spear lands, it will also cause a cascade of molten eruptions around the impact location, and anyone who gets caught in it will get hit for 80,000 fire damage. Don't be that person. Important notes: when either of his pets die, he will enter a frenzy. This will increase his physical damage and attack speed by 30%. This will happen for each pet after its death. Last thing about Shannox: once Riplim has been slain, Shannox will drive his spear into the ground instead of throwing it. This will inflict 42.5 thousand fire damage and increase the fire damage taken for all players by 40%. Again, it will cause a cascade of molten eruptions, causing the same 80,000 fire damage to anyone who gets caught in it. If either of the dogs are alive when Shannox hits 30% health, they will enter an unstoppable rage. This is called Frenzied Devotion. This will increase the dog's damage dealt by 400% and attack speed by 200% and movement speed by 100%. This is an automatic wipe. Now, let's talk about the dogs. Riplim. Riplim will attack the target with the most threat. He is not tauntable. He will use an ability called Limb Rip. This is where he will bite his current target, causing 130% of normal melee damage and causing a stack of Jagged Tear. Again, Jagged Tear is a debuff that inflicts 2,500 physical damage every 3 seconds for 24 seconds, and it will continue to stack throughout the raid. So we'll have to drop these stacks occasionally. When Shannox throws his spear, Riplim will break off from combat, fetch the spear, and return it to Shannox. This is our opportunity to drop stacks of Jagged Tear off of each tank. The tank that has Riplim will need to run him through a crystal trap just before Shannox throws his spear, so that it will buy a few more seconds before Riplim is able to return the spear. Once Shannox has the spear, he will begin his Arcing Slash, therefore applying Jagged Tear again. Riplim will then return to the player of highest threat after returning the spear. This should be the tank. Rageface is, well, let's just say Rageface cannot be controlled. He will jump around from person to person, changing his target periodically. He does have one ability called Face Rage. This is where he leaps at a random player, stunning and knocking them to the ground. The targeted player is defenseless and cannot move or cast. Rageface will maul the player, causing 8,000 physical damage every half second, and the damage will increase over time. He will continue to do this until the target is dead or he receives a single attack that deals at least 30,000 damage. Our saving grace is that while Rageface is doing this, his Face Rage All attacks against him will be critical strikes. Alright, so let's go over this from the beginning. First, you will want to attack Rage Face. Get him down as fast as possible. Do not pop less, though, to do this. As soon as Rage Face is down, everyone's going to go to Shannox. DPS Shannox down to about 45%. After that, all DPS need to switch to Riplim. Once Riplim goes down, everyone back to Shannox, pop less, and win.